They're looking for high levels of industrial pollution carried to the supposedly pristine environment by air and sea currents from Europe and Asia.
We're talking about industrial chemicals. These cubs are being exposed to pollutants even before they're born. The pollution comes from a long way away.
Maps at the Polar Institute reveal hotspots of pollution, areas so contaminated they threaten the bears' ability to breed and their very survival.
Even a very small change in reproductive rates can cause a very slow decline in the population level. And if this happens, we're talking over time frames of 50 to 100 years, you could see a population greatly reduced or, in the worst case, go to extinction.
Arctic char are also highly polluted. In the wild, these fish are food for seals, which are in turn eaten by the polar bears. The bigger the predator, the greater the level of contamination.
We can measure up to a 20-time increase in the concentration in the brain of some individual. So there will also be an increase in the concentration in other sensitive tissues like the liver, like the kidney.
In a government-funded laboratory, seal tissues reveal worrying levels of industrial pollution. They're highly toxic PCB chemicals.
It's quite scary, in fact, because it can affect animals, those PCBs, and the whole reproductive system of animals. But it can also affect, of course, the human beings.
But it's not just here in the Norwegian Arctic that PCBs pose a threat. Scientists in Denmark, France and Britain have all reported dramatic falls in human male fertility over the last 50 years. Many believe that industrial chemicals, including PCBs, are to blame. The future for these cubs is uncertain. The industrial pollutants that threaten them are banned in most countries, yet they continue to accumulate in the environment. So every year, young bears drink mother's milk with higher and higher levels of contamination. Richard Wilson, BBC News, in the Norwegian Arctic.